Now, we are still in the midst of hurricane season, and with that, we're going to discuss a topic today that some of you may not have ever heard about before. It's the role of the Bermuda High. The Bermuda High is a semi-permanent high-pressure system that can flex its muscle throughout the season, becoming weaker and stronger and shifting a bit across the basin from east to west, and that helps steer storms. So for more on that, we join now by our weather friend, Houston Chronicle meteorologist Justin Ballard, to talk more about the Bermuda High. Welcome back, Justin.
The Bermuda High, sometimes called the Azores High, depending on where exactly it's at. You know, it really does play a really big role in hurricane season. I mean, just take a look at this year's examples. You know, you see Gabrielle out there right now, Category 2. But all of these storms have, aside from Chantal and Barry, have been well removed from the U.S. and from landfall really anywhere.
Yeah, and we typically will see this every season. There will be some lanes that develop where storms tend to track and cluster along similar paths. And so far this year, the Gulf is not one of the favored tracks, thankfully, and they are mostly out to sea storms. We like that.
Yeah, now certainly not to discount, you know, some effects. Barry obviously kind of went to indirectly affect Texas. You know,
absolutely.
That's obvious,
right.
But for the most part, we've not had any direct landfalls, and I think we can all be happy about that.
For sure.
So what exactly is the Bermuda High? You mentioned it right off the top. It's a semi-permanent ridge of high pressure, and it really is anchored most of the times between Bermuda and the Azores during the spring, really all the way through the fall months.
Right.
Now, as it gets a little stronger or a little bit more, I like to call it sprawly, as it sprawls across the Atlantic, that's when we really look closely for potential landfalls during the hurricane season along the U.S. coast. Ike, Harvey, I mean, obviously there's other factors that kind of go into, you know, steering currents, but at the surface, this high pressure really was in place even with Beryl in July of last year, early July. We had this very large area of high pressure kind of centered between Bermuda and the east coast of Florida. Right. And that really helped to kind of steer Beryl into southeast Texas. Weaker or smaller Bermuda High, as we've seen this year so far. Knock on wood, fingers crossed.
Let's keep it that way.
Tropical storms have been primarily out to sea.
Well, it is a tricky thing, too. You might be thinking, well, can't we just figure out ahead of the season what the Bermuda High is going to do? And because it's semi-permanent, it's always in flux, always changing. So what should forecasters be looking out for now, between now and the end of the Atlantic hurricane season?
Really, any kind of fluctuation. So this is kind of a sort of example or a diagram, if you will, of the Bermuda High and how it kind of rolls on through hurricane season.
By the way, there's Bermuda right there.
Yes, right there.
And this is the Azores.
Teeny tiny speck there. Azores actually under a hurricane warning right now.
Right, from Gabrielle.
From Gabrielle. So, you know, they're obviously seeing some impacts from this, but as the high pressure kind of expands or contracts, it will open up that path. You know, so far we've kept us a path similar to this. Let's keep it that way.
Please.
You know, obviously what we'll be watching out for through the end of the hurricane season is, what does this high pressure do? Does this expand more? Does it move a little closer to Bermuda? If it does move a little closer to Bermuda, it would obviously impact, you know, someone possibly along the East Coast or in the Gulf, along the Gulf Coast.
Yes, something we can't rule out in the month of October,
Correct.
But usually by the time we get to October, the jet stream winds start pushing that Bermuda High away from the Gulf, and we see less risk of hurricanes here.
Especially in the Western Gulf.
Absolutely. Florida, though, totally different story.
Absolutely.
So still a lot of hurricane season left to go. Thank you so much, Justin.